Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Scum WoW series? Question mark? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more of these. This episode, or this particular production, is kind of in response to the one I released the previous week, which was Maximum Scum, where we basically had a bit of a pot around using whatever the maximum possible setting was in I guess a positive sense, quite literally. So not looking any hidden meanings behind the scenes or anything like that. It's literally, if there was a slider, it went all the way to the right. So we kind of hopefully know how that ended. If you haven't, that video is available, and it's a bit of a long one, but well, you know, it is Maximum Scum. Now, this particular session is the antithesis of that. So it is Minimum Scum. So when we log in, I hadn't actually pre-changed all the world settings. So everything you can see here is basically what we had set for Maximum Scum. So we're going to go through and literally do the opposite. So we go through, anything that was on is now off. Anything that was set at the largest possible number is now going to get set at the minimum possible number. Now, in some cases that is 0. In some cases 0 is not acceptable, and we've had to generally default to the number 1. So either way, we end up with some very small numbers in there. Now, as you can see there, body simulation speed modifier is 1/10 of whatever, 1 is. And the default Scum, I think from memory, is 3.84. So our metabolism is going to be running at an absolute asthmatic snail's pace compared to what it is normally. That's going to become relevant as we get underway shortly. There's going to be a lot of other things that are going to become relevant, not the least of which is our chance of drops and things like that. In like searching boxes, there's not going to be much on. I mean, this is predictable. Like any time, if you've ever played on one of these sort of pauper-based servers where the emphasis is on survival, where you have a setting of like 1 for your loot chance, there's a lot of empty boxes. Observationally, I think they may have tweaked that a bit to make a setting of 1 a bit worse than it has been previously, but that could just be some very bad luck on my behalf. And where Scum is concerned, very bad luck is, well, yeah. Anyway, this loot here in this shed, because this is where we spawned in on the ground, it's likely that this loot was already spawned in as part of the higher settings. So we're just going to discount that for a bit. And we're just going to get ourselves sorted with, as you can see, we've got a bit of a basic survival pack. Again, I think we spawned in with the new player pack enabled. It's not going to make a huge difference as far as how this episode is going to transpire, simply because predictably we're not going to be finding very much of anything around the place. So the downside of having all this extra stuff is it is all kind of useful, and we don't want to throw it away, which means the courier backpack, where we'd normally fit 3 stacks of arrows, with a bit of shoehorning, I've made room for 1 stack. So that's all we're going to end up with. But we do get a bow, we do get our stone axe, and we've got a knife as part of the starter kit. Now, other immediately obvious things here is, that's the nuclear plant over there. We've got a cargo drop alert in C0. Well, C0 is the nuclear plant, so we must be reasonably close to the C0 border, if not in C0 proper. I did check my gear a couple of times just to see if I was being irradiated, but I wasn't. So I'm going to assume that our spawning location is in D0, just quite close to the C0 border. Now, you might be asking, well, why am I assuming this? Well, one of the things that we had to turn off was the map. So we have no map view. And we also have no third person view. So this entire run is first person with no map. We've got no compass other than, like, you've got the default one, which basically when you look in a direction, you got to spin around to work out where north is, because that's the only marker that you have. From the rest, it's just dead reckoning from whatever you can remember. So here we are. We're having a bit of a look at our metabolism. We've been underway for, I don't know, say 30 to 45 minutes at this stage, and we haven't really lost very much at this stage, and that's a reflection of our very slow metabolism. But as the little screen alert there said, our metabolism isn't really the problem here. We've unwittingly unleashed a environmental hazard upon this map. And the clue as to what that is that bang. Now, there's not a lot of things in Scum that go bang by default. The most obvious one is cargo drops. And yes, I won't let you sweat too heavily on this one. You're going to see it firsthand not too far down the track. But the cargo drops, there's a few settings involving the timing of them. There's, for example, the amount of time between drops. There is the amount of time it takes for the cargo drop to, like, from when it spawns in the sky to when it's on the ground. And the total amount of time from when it's spawned, or rather when it's on the ground, to when the explosive goes off. Now, bearing those 3 time-based settings in mind, anyone care to guess, setting those all at the minimum, what we're going to end up with? That's right, we have some very large drop mines, which don't take any time at all to fall to the ground. Basically, we're not going to see a parachute. They're not under parachute for more than an nth of a second, and we're just not going to see that. Once they land on the ground, I would estimate there is at most a minute from when they're on the ground to when they actually explode. I would guess actually it's less than that. And there's been a bit of sort of chopping around here just to speed up our journey a bit. Because honestly, other than listening to cargo drops explode... Oh yes, here we go. We're coming up on... There's a cargo drop going to appear on the left there in amongst those trees. It's not there right now, but it's about to appear. And you might just hear its puny mating call to tell me that it's there. And we're going to turn around... and we're going to see that the green smoke is already coming out at the top of it. Now, the thing is, yep, there we go. D0, it's on the ground already. And there's already smoke coming out of it. This is not sped up. We're sitting on the ground because we're a bit tired. For a moment, I thought, maybe I'm far enough away. And then I had a moment of doubt. And I thought, no, we need to get a little bit further away. But you can already see the lights are flashing. And we're about to... Yep, there we go. Bang. Less than a minute from go to woe. So, I don't think we're going to be able to loot a cargo drop. And you might think, well, duh, you're not going to have time to pick the locks. Well... Funny you mention that. One of the other settings that you can set to no or off is lockboxes. So in actuality, none of the boxes on the drop would be locked. So all we'd have to do is run in, open some boxes, try and loot everything, and get out inside of a minute. Yeah, I don't think I'm up for that sort of a challenge. But leave me a comment down below. I can always, come back and give that an experiment with these settings at a later date if you would like me to see, if you'd like to see me try. It's going to be tricky because, a single player, so the drops do appear within a radius around you, but predicting where one is going to land when you've got no advanced warning it's going to be a lot of luck involved. But look, if it's something you want to see, let me know. In terms of things that you are going to see as part of our journey is D0 bunker. As soon as I spawned in the snow and I saw the nuclear plant, I knew that a good space, like a good place to go to do some testing, would be the D0 bunker, because I'm kind of familiar with it. It's like one of my favourite bunkers actually in Scum. I've had some good times here, I've got some good loots, and I also know the timing on the mech to be able to get in the back door here without actually alerting the mech. So anyone who doesn't know, just pay attention here, because there's none of the settings that we have that change anything to do with what we're about to do. So there's nothing that tweaks the mechs other than to turn them on and off. So you might think, well, why are they on? Well, the default stance is on, and the setting says disable sentry spawn, and of course we're setting that to off, which means it's a double negative. So basically we end up with the sentry spawning, so that's fine. Here we are in our back door. Little piece of survival advice: don't let go of this ladder, you will fall most likely to your death. This is a very tall ladder. But we're going to come down here and we're going to have our little on-screen briefing here that this is D0, and that is exactly right. D0 bunker, well actually any of the bunkers to be honest, is going to be the empty box simulator on these settings. Simply because our chance of any of these containing anything at all is, I won't say it's nothing, but it's pretty low. So that's enough of an entry spiel. I'm going to leave you to enjoy the quality viewing experience, which is Empty Box Simulator 1.0. Oh, sorry, Scum 1.0. Enjoy. Oh yes, and while I think of it, this will be your advanced warning. Anyone with a nervous disposition or anyone who does not react well to jump scares, yes, I can't sort of warn you enough that there will be a couple during the course of this episode. So yes, you have been warned. And oh look, we found something in a cardboard box. Yet, we didn't find anything in an armory. Yes, that is exactly how this minimalistic loot setting does tend to play out sometimes. Some of the most interesting finds you end up with in filing cabinets or cardboard boxes. So yeah. All right, this is one of the reasons I like D0 is there's two armories literally right next to each other. If you come in here with where your server setting is quite dark, this second one is easy to miss because it's right next to where the shelves are. And you'll do a double take because you'll think, oh, we've only just killed, we've only just cleared the armory on that side, but you've cleared the one just before the intersection and there's one just after the intersection. So yeah, I have nearly missed, back in the early days of doing D0 bunker, I did miss that one a couple of times thinking, oh yeah, I've already done it, when clearly I hadn't. But yeah, that's all good. We're going to continue searching crates. We're going to continue looking around for interesting things. You might see me sort of poking at walls and things like that. That's because I haven't been in D0 bunker since the 1.0 update. So I'm just kind of... I realise the bunkers won't have changed, I guess, fundamentally, but I'm just looking for little things that they may have tweaked along the way, because I didn't really want to look up any spoilers before I came in here. So yes, we've got that going on. Now, one other thing to bear in mind, and the splash screen at the loading screen should have made it reasonably obvious, but this footage was recorded about a week before Christmas. So the Christmas event details were still sort of live in Scum. So there's Christmas baubles around, and all the other seasonal things are happily along the way. Now, I'm not sure why I bothered to open that, because yes, we did actually get spotted by the sentry there, but sentry be slow. Yeah, and the sentry can almost look down here. Actually, the sentry can look down here. So let's stop, staring longingly into the sentry's eyes and get back to our important mission of simulating empty boxes. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas. Yes, that was one of those jump scares I was telling you about. The reward, and honestly I can't ever remember. It's probably just that I don't tend to play Scum at this time of the year, so I'm not usually subject to the Christmas event as much. But I didn't realise that Santa left us, fully kitted out weapons. So we have ourselves a AK-15, we have a magazine, and we have a box of ammo, as well as a suppressor. So Santa apparently not affected by our loot settings, and we're going to be very thankful of that as time goes on. Now, in relation to other characters, we'll say, in the game, now obviously we have all of our numbers set to the lowest setting, so I think that means our total characters is like 1 for each of the characters. So we've probably got as likely a chance to run into a puppet as we do an NPC or indeed anything else, which is why we're not really seeing any so far. It's not to say they can't be there, it's just we're only ever going to have 1 at a time. That does make things a bit dull, but it is worth noting that the puppets, the puppet speed, health and damage, there's nothing lower than the default setting of 1. And the default setting of 1 is what I normally play Scum on most of the time. I just tend to have more puppets around to make it a bit more of a challenge. So the puppet, any puppet I run into in this game is going to be about the same difficulty as I normally have to deal with. So, yeah, before we had a bow and we had an axe, and that was probably going to be enough. But now, we got ourselves an AK-15. And we're just reminding ourselves what the... because we don't want it running on full auto. That's a really great way of wasting some very precious ammunition. We need to change it to single fire. So that's what we're going to do now. Boom. Except it doesn't seem to be showing up on the icon. So that must be something else we've got turned off as well. So I'm just kind of guessing from the clicks whether there is 3 settings on the AK-15. So full auto, 3 shot and 1 shot, or whether it's only 2 settings. And I'm kind of guessing which one it might be in. Yeah, you're going to have to wait and see whether I guess correctly. For the moment, though, I realise how precious this ammo is, even though I know we're not going to come across a lot of puppets. But we're going to come across even less replacement ammunition for it. So I'm trying to keep the axe and the bow for as long as I can as our, I guess, our primary weapons. And just trying to use the AK-15 as our backup. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see how we get on with that. But we're just about done getting everything where we want it to be. With that, with that all sorted, we are going to get back to our very important business of searching empty boxes. Alright, you could hear me boiling my brain cells going, how valuable is this bow? And the short answer was not very valuable, because I now have a pew pew and it definitely hits a lot harder than what the bow does. So we've made a judicious decision to drop our bow, which we have never used, and yeah, just to make room for more room in our pack so we can get some more stuff. And that was a decision that was triggered by us just coming across a can of soda. See, soda cans, they force you to make some pretty questionable decisions sometimes, so never take them for granted. And another thing to not take for granted is just how many empty boxes you can fit into one bunker. Yeah, I am almost 100% certain that that puppet was not in the room at the moment that I entered the room, but then spawned almost immediately thereafter. So, yeah, nice to see Scum hasn't forgotten any of its well-balanced and useful... yeah, anyway. Yes, the puppet military one, so I didn't want to sit there swinging at it all day with the axe. I've just gone to the rifle and a couple of shots, and yep, him go down. Now, if I were going to be reasonably serious about this minimalistic playthrough, I would have stopped and remembered to loot and skin that puppet, so that we might one day dream of having a bigger backpack, as in the crafted one. Unfortunately, that didn't really occur to me at this stage, and by the time it does occur to me, that puppet's body will be long since rotted. So, yeah, I'm not sure I would have the patience to do a minimalist run like this in a serious context. I mean, it's kind of challenging, but it's going to be probably the world's most repetitive thing by the time you even get halfway to having a vehicle. Oh wait, yes, we're not going to be able to have a vehicle at all, because in this setting all of the vehicles are set to 0, including how many you're allowed to buy. So basically there are no vehicles, not even wheelbarrows, not even push bikes. If you want to get around on this map, you need your boots, which is going to present a whole different problem a bit later in this particular run, which yeah, we'll cover that when we get there. In the meantime though, we have quite a lot more of these legendarily empty boxes that we need to continue searching. Yeah, this is pretty much the moment where I realised, oh yeah, we should have, you know, searched and chopped up that other puppet, and then we'd have had the 2 puppet skins we need to make the backpack. I mean, we still would have needed the nails and everything else, but, you know, small victories are small victories. But, yeah, so we've kind of missed out on that as an opportunity. For the moment, though, we're going to pick up and retain this puppet skin. We've made ourselves a bone needle just in case we come across some thread. I'm not feeling particularly optimistic about that at this stage, since just about everything is rarer than hen's teeth at this stage. So, yeah, look, it's going to require quite a massive act of luck for us to get even close to having the materials we need to be able to make the improvised backpack. But there is still hope, so we'll cling to that for as long as we can. Yep, one thing we definitely have in abundance is places that have nothing in them. Although, having come across 2 puppets now, I'm wondering whether, with the settings we've got, I have a feeling maybe there was a puppet back in the forest or somewhere that took a while to either get out of range and despawn, or something else to kill it. I don't know. I mean, in theory, there is like 1 animal potentially out there as well. It took a while for that to clear out to enable us to get a puppet to spawn inside the bunker here. That might be a theory with some merit, I have to say, but we'll never really know for sure. Now that we've actually come across a couple of puppets, it means we've got a chance that we may bump into an NPC as well. Although, yeah, as we established before, we're only going to ever get 1 of them. So, given we've got our rifle now, I don't imagine an NPC would cause us a lot of grief, simply because, yep, you guessed it, the NPC skill level is set to the minimum. Which means I think that usually entails us only coming across the NPCs with crossbows and other handheld weapons, and possibly with like improvised weapons. I'm not sure. It's been a while. They may have tweaked it a little bit, but they're going to be quite dumb, and we're going to hear them a mile away if we do come across one. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that's in our future. We have found some medicines in these labs, I don't know, infirmary, I guess. The medicines aren't really directly useful to us, not right now, but they will become relevant a little bit later on, and we'll cover that when we get to it. For the moment, though, we're getting close to a fully cleared this D0 bunker. There's only 1 other corridor that we haven't done yet, and it's back towards the entry point that we use, so it's back towards the back door a bit. So we'll finish searching this little area, and then we'll start heading towards that last little bit that we haven't searched yet. That corridor, for anyone familiar with D0, that's the one that has the other infirmaries and research rooms in it, and that's usually where you get the locker that you can potentially get Phoenix Tears out of. In fact, there's usually 2 lockers, just one in one of the labs and one in one of the infirmaries, I think, from memory, but we'll get to that in due course. But not before we've had a chance to search some more empty boxes. Yay! Yeah, not going to lie, that hurts a little bit. I mean, it's great that you can open that locker without having to pick it, but to have absolutely nothing in it, yeah, that kind of hurts. That was, of course, one of the lockers that can potentially have Phoenix Tears in it. Although, obviously, on this loot setting, there's a pretty solid chance that it's not going to have Phoenix Tears in it. So, yay, hooray for that. Now, we've got a couple of normal lockers here, but we've also got one locker which has a chance at having a radiation suit in it. Yeah, no radiation suit, but we do get some more medicine. So we're going to just ditch one of our water bottles. I mean, we've got a ton of water, and with how slow our metabolism is, we barely, I mean, this session was like 2 hours, and I think I only had 3 or 4 units of fluids of any kind during this. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, but yeah, we just don't need a lot of fluid at all. Honestly, I probably could have had half as much, and I still would have been a long way short of starting to get thirsty. So yeah, it's there is a bit to be gained by having such a slow metabolism, but yeah, I've got to say this loot setting it's a little on the tedious side. So, you know, this is I make these sacrifices so you don't have to. If you're finding that this episode is more interesting than watching paint dry, please remember to give me a thumbs up so I can appreciate that I am more entertaining than watching paint dry. If I'm not more entertaining than watching paint dry, just leave me a comment down below to that effect. Just say boo hoo hoo, I watched my, living room wall paint dry, and that was, quicker and more entertaining than your Scum episode, and I'll accept that. I'll take that on board. I always love a bit of good feedback. So thank you for that. If you choose either of those methods of letting me know how much you do or do not like my content. Yes. In the meantime, though, we are just about done. We've cleared all of this. And we are heading towards this corridor. And I misremembered. I thought the medicine lockers were both in this area, but they weren't. One of them was back where we were before. So we've only cleared one of those. There should be another one down in amongst all of these rooms. So we're going to get on with that search, and look, we'll see if we can find anything else of value while we're down in this area. Ho, 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 ho. Yes, you didn't think Santa was going to let me get away with such a stingy haul of just one AK-15. Oh no, he's chipped in quite dramatically here. We've got ourselves a bit more food, and we've got some ammo, we've got a magazine, and we've got a UMP, and which is a 45 caliber submachine gun. Except that puts us in a bit of an awkward boat here because we don't have a lot of room. We definitely we're not going to leave something as valuable as that behind. So we're just going to take a minute here and we're going to load up the one magazine we've got. It will take the 30 rounds that we've been given in the ammo box. So no worries about that. Now we didn't seem to get a suppressor with this one, so we've just got the gun, the magazine, and the bullets. But we did get a bottle of tequila. Is that meant to suppress you? Maybe? I don't know. Because we've got really good quality bandages already, I'm not going to bother carrying the tequila. The tequila is great if you're having to use rags as bandages because you can sterilize them ahead of time so you can minimize your chance of getting an infection. But you don't need to do that when you've got proper bandages, and we're completely out of space. So I'm not going to ditch any of the food because it's pretty obvious that we might be a long time between meals. And even though we don't need a lot of water, it would be silly for us to get rid of our one bottle of it. So we don't have a lot of room for shedding stuff. And I make a judicious decision that, yeah, we're not going to take the tequila because it's too heavy. And our tactical military pants, they've got really good space, but they don't have good weight capacity. Yeah, maybe we are going to take the tequila. You're going to make a liar out of me, aren't you? It's all right. We're going through the decision-making process at the moment. Having the pants, the reason why I've been hanging on to the pants for as long as I did is because it's a ready supply of rags, and if we come across another puppet and we end up with, the bolts and metal and stuff that we need to make the improvised backpack, that's obviously going to be worth having. But I think at this stage I'd made the judicious decision that I'm just not realistically going to get all of the bits I need to make that improvised backpack. So hence us surrendering those pants. Now the tequila, we're hanging on to that for a different reason. Yeah, that reason will become apparent before too long, but rest assured, it's for a good cause. So while we're maybe contemplating in the background what that good cause might be, we're going to finish searching the rest of this wing, and then I think it will be pretty much time to head for the door and start thinking about what our next destination might be. So, I don't know. Do you put a timestamp below? What do you think our next destination might be? What would be a logical thing for us to maybe go and do now, given where we are in the world, and what our world settings might sort of hint at in terms of what might be a good or a bad idea. Yeah, leave me a comment down below. Now, as we're leaving, we're researching boxes that we've already searched. You might think, well, not that much time has elapsed. Well, clearly it's enough time based on our minimal settings. So the reset timer, I forget what it's actually called, but the reset timer for these containers is also quite short. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many minutes it is, but it's not the usual longish time frame. Okay, I was not expecting to actually come across a firearm. I mean, a firearm with some appropriate ammunition would be nice. That said, though, I mean, we've got some 45 in our UMP at the moment, so that would be useful. The ammunition there, though, is, and all the 7.62 and 5.45 and 5.56 rounds, I always get a little bit muddled in terms of which goes in which rifle. And I was thinking for a minute, oh, that's some spare ammo for my AK-15, but it actually isn't. So now that we've established that, we're going to have another round of Scum Tetris. Who thought that was going to be a thing with the loot settings the way they are, but yes. We're going to see if we can fit that pistol in our inventory before we die of old age. Anyone want to hazard a guess as to whether we're going to be successful or not? Alright, well, we've reached the point where it's time to move on, which in this case means we're going back out through the hatch that we came in through. Now, normally I'd be using third person to, just peek my camera over the top to try and work out exactly where this mech is. And that would save embarrassing moments like that, where the mech actually saw me but couldn't really do anything. So, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of trial and error on this one. If you're thinking that there's going to be a lot of error, how dare you? Oh, yeah, no. As I say, I'm pretty familiar with this bunker and this mech. It's just the whole idea of not being able to use my third-person camera to work out exactly where the mech is going to make this exit a bit more interesting. So we're going to make a break for it here shortly, and we'll see whether we get to eat some bullets while we're doing it. Fingers crossed. Yeah, he definitely pissed with me, but I'm choosing to keep this guard tower in direct line of sight between me and the mech. until I get far enough away from the fence line that he's just not going to see me anymore because of all the bushes. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how successfully we got out without causing problems, I'd say we're, I don't know, maybe a 9 out of 10. But, you know, any exit you can walk away from is a good exit. So we have completed that good exit, and we are now heading to our next goal. Now, has anyone had any thoughts on what that goal might be? Well, we're going to get slightly interrupted from that goal very shortly. And you've got about 5 seconds to work out what that interruption might be. Alright, so it was a little bit over 5 seconds, but yes, we got a drone. I'm going to say I'm pretty thankful that I didn't bump into the drone maybe a minute or so earlier when I was out in the open. But here in the tree line, the drone's got absolutely no chance of seeing me. Not to mention that I've taken to starting my characters with quite a respectable camouflage and stealth skills. So not moving, lying in the undergrowth, and with full tree cover, I liken the chances of that drone seeing me to probably about the same chances I would have of finding anything super valuable in any of the chests or boxes that are in this playthrough. So yeah, not a very high chance at all. Now we're moving on. The direction we're heading in is very distinctly westward, and we're sort of staying in the mountains here a little bit. For any of the regular Scum players, you've probably got a bit of an idea what I have in mind already. If you don't, leave a comment down below where you think I might be heading to. We've still got a bit of distance to cover, but I'm going to cut most of it because the journey was somewhat slowed by me insisting on triple carrying. So I've got the two weapons, 2 rifles, and I'm also carrying my axe, thinking I might need it for some crafting. But when you run with an axe or indeed any other tool or weapon in your hand, it does slow you down a bit. So we did choose to ditch the axe. Actually, at this point, we have ditched it. We ditched it, I think, shortly after we saw the drone, and we can cover a lot more ground a lot more quickly. Now, yep. Anyone want to confirm that that's where we're going? Yes, of course it is. We are heading to the trader because we've got some valuable stuff on us to sell, and I had it in my mind that that might give us enough cash that we could at least buy a respectable backpack and possibly some other supplies. Anyone want to hazard a guess as to how successful that's going to be? Well, I'll give you the first 5 seconds of the trader interface to realise why it wasn't going to work. Yes, we have 2 fame points because, well, we've killed 2 puppets and we've really not achieved much else besides. So just about everything that you can get from all of the traders has a minimum amount of fame points required before it becomes available for purchase. And we don't have enough fame points. We don't need a lot more. I mean, most of the really basic stuff, I think it unlocks at like 5 fame points or maybe 10. which we could probably get to with a bit of judicious grinding. But as we are at this particular moment, having covered kind of half the map almost in east to west terms, we just don't have the fame points. So we're going to go through just to free up some bag slots. We're going to go through and sell off all this medicine that we got. We're going to sell off the... well, we just got rid of the UMP and the block.
Those are fake anyway.
We're going to end up selling that lock. And pretty much anything else that we can find that is not immediately useful to us, we're going to sell it so we can get some more cash, on the off chance that there is something that we could buy that would be of use. Now, if you look carefully at the inventory at what we're wearing, running half a map has all but worn out our running shoes, and we have not found an adequate replacement.
All in good health.
And the clothing is not yet unlocked. So if we choose to continue with this character for any amount of additional travel, we're going to need to get ourselves some shoes.
No loitering. Your either prices are not negotiable. If you want me to buy that, you better give me a good price. Yeah.
New clientele. Step right up. You want something to drink or a fellow merchant, eh? Hit me up when you need a refill, sugar.
Welcome, welcome. Feel, here's what I got. Let's see what you have.
Alright, as confirmed with the general goods trader, we are literally unable to buy anything that we need. So specifically at this stage, I'd just settle for a pair of shoes, but we can't even do that. Apologies for me hitting the escape button all the time. I was starting to get a bit tired by the end of this session, and I kept forgetting my inventory change button. So yeah, anyway. So with this sort of slightly sad conclusion to our minimalist episode, sad in the sense that we can't buy any more bits that we want, we're just going to bring this episode to an end. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and above all, have yourself an absolutely amazing Christmas and a Happy New Year.